Picture this: Iran, shunned and sanctioned, announces it will formally recognize Israel. But wait, only if Israel backs a sovereign Palestinian state. Sounds explosive? Imagine the reactions: economic explosion, political tremors, cultural crossover, and yes, a shot at lasting peace. Buckle up, this could actually happen. For years, Iran's economy has choked under the grip of sanctions. The United States and European Union froze it out of global trade. Oil, its lifeblood, sat underground, unsellable through official channels. Banks, cut off from SWIFT. No global transfers, no credit lines, no trust. Sure, some oil still flowed. Ghost fleet tankers, dark routes, Chinese teapot refineries. In 2023, Iran was quietly exporting around 1.4 million barrels per day, but at steep discounts. It was survival, not success. Now picture this: sanctions vanish. In a matter of weeks, Iran ramps up by another 500,000 barrels per day, pushing past 2 million barrels daily. Global markets feel it. Europe sighs in relief. India makes calls. Japan listens closely. And the numbers? They speak volumes. The World Bank projects lifting just the European Union's oil embargo could inject over $8 billion into Iran's economy almost immediately. That's a 3.7% increase in average Iranian income nationwide. But the oil is just the start. Within a single fiscal quarter, Iranian banks are reconnected to SWIFT. Foreign insurance companies greenlight Iranian oil tankers. Shell, Total Energies, Eni. They all quietly reopen long-frozen agreements to develop Iran's aging oil fields. The moment the ink dried on Iran's recognition of Israel, tankers started moving. Valves unlocked and buried pipelines came alive. For years, Europe danced to Moscow's energy tune, but now a new rhythm pulses from Tehran. Gas once trapped beneath Iran's soil now flows westward, through Turkey, through Georgia, into EU cities desperate to diversify. With one handshake, Iran becomes the unexpected savior of Europe's energy strategy. The result? Gas prices fall, from $74 a barrel to just over $60. Utility bills across Europe shrink. Power-hungry factories flicker back online. Inflation slows, confidence returns. Economists call it a geo-economic chain reaction. A relief rally hits the euro. U.S. shale firms find new trading routes. Meanwhile, GCC exporters and Russia, once dominant, see subtle erosion. They lose market share, not from war or embargoes, but from peace. Iran just didn't rejoin the energy race, it flipped the track. Now it's both supplier and transit king. A gas giant reborn, not just for profit, but for power. The turning point wasn't a handshake, it was a map, a bold, redrawn line that changed everything. After decades of deadlock, Israel, under immense international pressure and internal political reckoning, grants full autonomy to a Palestinian state. Gaza, the West Bank, even East Jerusalem gains recognized status as a shared capital. For Iran, this was more than symbolism, it was the reason to move. Without Palestinian recognition, no normalization was possible. With it, a historic green light. Saudi Arabia doesn't throw a parade, neither does the UAE, but they don't need to. Behind closed doors, flights resume. Tech startups link investors. Petrochem deals are signed in discreet boardrooms from Riyadh to Tel Aviv. And at the center of it all, strangely, unexpectedly, is Iran. Not chanting resistance, but inviting partnership. In Washington, for the first time in years, the capital doesn't echo with war warnings, but with rare, bipartisan applause. Republicans celebrate diplomatic victory. For both sides, it's a political win wrapped in an economic gold ribbon. In Beijing, the mood is colder. Chinese teapot refiners, those nimble, independent oil processors suddenly face stiff competition. Iran no longer offers desperate discounts. Buyers have options. China must pivot. Russia, it loses more than just barrels. With Iran's return, Moscow's grip over Eurasian energy weakens, but the Kremlin adapts, proposing joint post-sanctions infrastructure projects to keep Tehran close. For the world, the change is subtle but seismic. Oil prices no longer swing wildly with Middle Eastern drama. Trade flows rebalance. The global South watches carefully, asking, if Iran can change its course, who's next? If Iran truly recognizes Israel, anchored by a sovereign Palestinian state, it wouldn't just rewrite maps, it would reboot history. Analysts forecast over $60 billion in shared economic growth, millions of new jobs, cheaper energy, safer borders, but numbers alone won't sustain this shift. What it truly needs is trust, transparency, and a generation willing to choose dialogue over division. Because in the end, the future of the Middle East won't be decided by oil or ideology, but by how bravely its people reimagine peace. Would you support restoring Iranian oil and lifting its isolation in exchange for peace? Comment below. Like, subscribe, and join us for more grounded what-if scenarios that feel alarmingly real.